I don't know how much time we have because I could do 1,500 stories. But
we try to keep it. It was funny because you were like, "We're gonna be there till 9." I was like, "That's a 3-hour podcast."
It could be multiple episodes.
Yeah, no, I don't want to destroy your audience by boring them to death.
Dude, we can totally take multiple episodes. Like we sort of stop it by hour, and then like piecemeal them out. They don't have to be week after week. Right. Be like, all right, episode 2 is months from now.
Well, Brian better prove to be a good guest, or it's only going to be half an episode.
I've only guested on 2 podcasts now, and I'm glad that we're doing this one because it's a little bit more family friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, you don't care if I cuss? And I was like, I mean, I don't care. It's your show.
and Dan he's asked me about that before, and he's like, is this a problem? I'm like, nope, you cuss all you want, and I will bleep it out.
Bleep it out.
Because I got to go to the potty mouth sometimes.
Well, I honestly think it's funnier when it's bleeped out.
Yeah.
I always actually had a debate about that one time. I'm like, is it funny if it's bleeped out? Or if it's a custom sound,
right?
Or like if it's a replaced word, or if it's just like they just silence.
Yeah.
Well, Corridor does a bleep. They do their own thing where they actually had a recording session where they had everybody come in and just make noise.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And Sam screamed with this like really guttural, like broken scream.
Uh-huh.
And they use that a lot. So instead of them cussing, it'll be like over and over again.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. So I mean, we may steal that idea, Corridor. I don't know if you're listening, but can you check that and make sure the square is on my face because I have been moving.
Yes,
quite a bit.
it is still on your eye.
Sweet.
Currently on your left eye.
Sweet. That's the one I wanted.
Don't put a patch on.
All right. Check.
Rob, you're a beautiful human being.
Oh, thanks, bro. Oh. That means the entire ocean to me.
Oh. You should hear it every day, buddy.
Check. All right. Dan, you want to chickadee check for me?
Checkity check. Check.
Keep going.
Checkity check. I'm just talking. I can go forever. Huh?
I was adjusting when I was like, I don't think
that's
your mic.
Adjust my shirt.
Yeah, get comfy.
There we go.
Keep going.
All right, is that any better? Hopefully I'm talking. I can talk forever.
But
sorry.
You talk louder than that when you talk during the podcast. So
I probably do.
Tell him a story.
What kind of story am I going to tell him? Anything that's going to be not family friendly.
That's fine. Keep going.
No, you want me to keep going? How long do you want me to talk? I don't know, man. Right. Do you play any video games?
Well, I can't. I guess if you want me to talk, I can, but I do not play video games.
Oh, really? Okay. That's all right. I'm totally interested in like what your side of the industry is like.
Yeah, because one of the podcasts, you and the other host, you two went off about video games, and the other guy, whoever was editing it, he just completely zoned out. I was like, yes, that's the editing we need.
So we actually talked about that in that episode.
Yeah.
Because Dan, I think it was your idea, Dan, that you were like, what if whenever because you were talking about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And then Tom was actually just making eye contact with the camera, and he was just like,
See, and I'm glad you're open to like editing suggestions like that.
Dude,
because I can pepper you with them.
This whole thing is a collaborative effort. Like everything that we do is collaborative.
I just want to make sure you don't think I'm like stepping on your toes.
No. As long as you're not like,
the edit's mine.
I will tell you this, and if he watches, he's gonna know it's him. But the first time somebody edited with me, they were sitting behind me, and I had a multicam setup, and we were editing a stand-up comedy special.
Oh, cool.
And he was sitting behind me, and he goes, cut. And I was like, this ain't gonna work. We're done. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years. Like I understand how to cut on pacing, and I understand that.
Especially comedy. Like it does have a pacing, and it's pretty clear, you know?
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, we can kind of tell that I at least know a little bit what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
So we've been fairly successful.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that everybody's comfortable, let me make a couple little adjustments here. If you decide to sit up at any point, we'll need to make another small adjustment. But I got you right there.
Dude, this couch is comfy. I don't plan on moving much at all.
It is so nice.
Okay, so here's the deal. I know you guys mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to bring it up. I thought it was a great idea, or a great deal. this doesn't happen like ever. So a friend of mine, he got a hold of me and he goes, hey, do you want to buy my couch? And I had been over to his house and I'd sat on it and I was like, I love that couch. It's massive. It's a sectional and it's great. Like this is basically a twin bed.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah. It's awesome.
So
very comfortable too.
I was like, how much do you want for it? And I want you guys to take a guess. How much do you think he asked?
Is it not free?
It was not free.
Okay.
$2,000.
Okay.
500.
$300.
Whoa.
And he delivered it.
What a steal, man.
Oh, that's like the icing on the cake.
For sure. Because I have a tiny little car.
Steal.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I'm still wearing these.
Absolute steal.
Yeah, no, it was pretty amazing that he so I sleep on it, like everybody loves it.
Yeah.
I had some friends over, we were watching Jurassic Park, and one of the girls was laying right there and she was just like, she was about to fall asleep. She was almost out. And I have surround sound too, so you got like dinosaurs coming from behind you, so it's a little scary.
Pretty awesome.
But yeah, she was almost out watching it. It's super, super comfy. And I really, it's such a great deal. I was like, this is crazy. So I'm going to be upset when my giant body finally destroys it. I'm going to be real sad about it. All right. So we are 6 minutes in, and I think it's time to start the podcast.
Oh, is that what we're doing here?
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
We're just here to hang, guys.
All right. Hey, welcome to Nonsense.Podcast. We are here with Brian. That's this guy over here. I used to work with him. How long did we work together? Like, it wasn't a super long time.
No, maybe a year.
A year?
Or less. I don't know.
And I trained you.
Yep.
And then you left to go. Is that when you started your recording studio? Or?
No.
So when you left, where did you go?
I actually took some time off.
Like you didn't work?
And I didn't work.
How is that a thing?
I was in college. So I was in the National Guard at the time too.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So I was getting paid to go to school and I was going to school. So I kind of took a little bit of time off and then I went back to one of my other jobs that I previously had.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Basically, when I left TCT, and I mean, I can get into the story of that if you want me to.
Yeah. I mean, I'll cut it out, but it's fine.
So TCT is actually the only job I've ever been fired from. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I got fired.
I didn't know you got fired.
Yes. So one
Did you fight somebody?
No, I wish it was cool like that. One of the engineers that was there, I guess, saw me using the phone in the control room.
Like your own phone?
No, the work phone there.
Okay.
And like my wife would call me, and I would talk to her and stuff like that. And I mean, it could have been that, or I may have been on my own phone. I'm not sure. But they had like a zero phone policy in there, and they didn't go to like my boss, which was the engineer guy. Gosh, I can't remember his name.
Todd.
Yes, they did not go to Todd. They went to the next guy up.
Bruce.
And told him.
Yeah.
And Bruce is like, oh. So like the next day I got called in and they're like, yeah, we're going to have to let you go.
Wow.
Yeah, they had a lady from HR. And Todd was like, I am so sorry. Like, you were great when you were here. And Todd was like, I will give you good references. Like,
that's kind of insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was.
I don't want to be like, look at me, but I literally use the phone. They brought me a phone bill.
Oh, did they really?
Like, they didn't make me pay it, but they were like, this is what you've been spending. Because I was dating a girl back in 2009 to 2011, and I was on the phone with her for hours.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And they would like not.
I mean, I've never officially been told like this day, this time, like when it happened.
Right.
So I just kind of was like.
It had to be your cell phone, though,
Yeah.
because like they got onto us all the time about cell phones.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a thing for you, too. Like whenever you're working in video game design, can they.
Hi, I'm Dan.
Yes.
I was waiting to see how long it took for like he introduced him and they got into talking and they were going to wonder who this third guy just sitting here is.
Well, that's only if they're watching this podcast as their first one.
That's
they should know
true.
who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't even.
No, you're
I just
fine, buddy.
assumed everybody's going to be like, hey, I know who he is.
No, you're good, buddy. What's going on? Sorry,
When
what was
did
your
you
question?
get here? I
You
was.
snap your
I've been
fingers.
here.
Yeah.
I've been here for
Dan.
hours just watching you. I just blend in with the couch.
I was asking you if like whenever you were working at like Volition and the game places, like did they let you use your phones or did you have like were there?
Yeah,
issues with
they
that?
trusted us. Like they were fine. There weren't really smartphones when we started there.
Okay.
Yeah, because I started back in like 2006, and
that's around the time, if I remember correctly, that Tokyo Drift came out. And
yeah.
they had flip phones, but apparently that takes place after Fast and Furious like 6 or 7.
Oh.
Yeah, so chronologically it's supposed to be.
I've watched like one of those movies.
Bruh.
I've seen.
I feel like I've seen one. I've seen them all. I
I just like watching.
It's like seeing one of the Transformers movies. You're like, hey, you know, a bunch of shit happens.
It's CGI beating up other CGI.
Yeah. It's like,
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. The phones at Volition. They
were like, once we had, like, we'd been there long enough at that point, you know, that where they're like, yeah, dude, you can have your phone. Just don't be a dummy. You know, don't take pictures of stuff that you're not supposed to take pictures of.
That was my concern. Was I was thinking that they might restrict it to keep you from sharing like.
They're like, we trust you. You're adults. You know, act like it.
Yeah, dude. Know? Whenever we were working at TCT, they didn't really trust us at all. No. Like we weren't allowed to be on our phones. I cannot tell you how many times I got written up for being on my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But see, those days at Volition, man, we were like, there was a big push. I had very little complaints about my time at Volition.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like the second time was different.
Right.
But like the first time I worked at Volition, like no complaints, but like very few complaints. Like there's, you know, they treated us really well.
That's really nice.
As far as QA is concerned.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't treated as nicely as a lot of other people in the studio. But like still, as far as QA concerned, they did their best to do right by us.
Right.
And that was cool.
That's rare.
It's incredibly rare. And that's why I got spoiled.
Which is sad. So speaking of how your business treats you, I wanted to ask Brian about you have your own recording studio.
Yes. Yeah.
Velocity Records.
Recording studio.
That's what I meant. When I went to look it up, I typed in, because I knew it was Velocity, and then I typed in records just because that's like the first thing. And that wasn't, I was like, this is not him at all. So I had to look it up. Velocity Recording Studio.
Yeah.
And do you have any employees? Do you hire anybody to come in, or it's all just you?
So I have contracted some people to help, but for the most part, it's just me. And then every now and then I'll have an intern, like a high schooler.
I remember I sent you asked me if I knew anybody who could come and shoot some video for you.
Yes,
and that really helped us out. Actually, I don't know if you know that. Did she tell you about it?
No.
You would know a little bit about this too, because you were in the cohorts as well.
Oh yeah.
That I was when I was teaching those classes. They have to get hired.
Yeah.
So the fact that she got hired and you paid her, like that helped her meet her criteria.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I think we have to place like 75% of everybody who goes through the class.
Right.
That's
her and Grant both were like chef's kiss. They were amazing.
Can we get some of that video so I can put it up?
Yeah.
To show kind of what we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
a little bit?
totally.
Did you shoot any BTS while they were shooting? You were probably really busy.
I was very busy. Okay. I hired them to do the BTS basically. Like that was.
I was hoping they had BTS of the BTS so I could show them working.
I don't have any of that.
I'll reach out to Kaylin and see if I can get some from her.
Yeah, she might have some, or Grant might. But oh my god! So basically, kind of to divulge what we're talking about is I got contracted to do a recording for a musical that was written locally here in Southern Illinois, and to do the studio recording for it. So I knew it was going to be a big thing. I knew it was going to be something that I wanted to document. And so like right off the bat, I was like, I want to hire somebody to do video for this. And so that's whenever I was like, I know Rob's been doing these trading classes, and I was like, I got to get a hold of him and see if he has anybody, because I didn't have a huge budget, you know. I was like, but I wanted to pay somebody, and somebody that, you know,
made a good choice, man.
Right, trying to learn or whatever, and so.
Yeah, and I went through the list of the classes or the students from the classes, and I was like, who do I think would be best suited for this? And then Kaylin was the first one that popped up in my head.
Yeah,
whenever we were doing the classes and stuff, she seemed like she was already fairly experienced.
Right.
So yeah, I think that really helped.
Yeah, like they showed up early, both days. They came at so really they were just contracted for those 2 days. But then I had like follow-up sessions, and I was just like, hey, like if you want to come do this, you can. Like if you don't have to. Like I'm not expecting you, you know, to do anything. And they would show up and like get B-roll, and like I mean that whole like last half of the video like was basically not expected of them, and they would have had and did it. And I'm like, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. And their video looked great. And I
saw it and I was like, wow, I'm really impressed with how well it was.
I gave her 100% creative control.
Right.
I said,
what you should do with artists.
Right. Yeah. And then basically I was like, you know, I've got a couple like stipulations, but for the most part, I want you to be the producer of your own video.
And to be honest, like as somebody who used to write comedy stuff, like I appreciate that approach, but I'm glad that you said there are some stipulations.
Yeah.
Because if you want to kill a comedian, let them do whatever they want.
Yeah, because you have to have some sort of boundaries, otherwise you're paralyzed by choice.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's actually Lorne Michaels said that. He said, like, if you want to kill a comedian, let them do whatever they want.
That sounds like something he would say.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's
And it's true. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Like, if you give a comedian with just, like, make a joke about whatever you want, it's like,
Right. It's like whenever you go to a party and all your friends see you pick up a guitar and you're like, what do I play?
Yeah.
Just like, crap, the only thing I can play is Smoke on the Water.
Right.
Even though 30 minutes ago you were just doing like a Van Halen solo or something. And
Anyway, here's
Hey,
one.
Rob, tell a story.
I was walking down the street. Oh gosh, all the things are broken. Actually, that's a fun game that we play. So I want to do that. We could probably do that today if you want to. What we do is you start a story, and then anybody who's not you, obviously, can yell new choice, and you have to like change the last thing you said to something else.
Yeah.
And the first time we played this, it went off the rails, and we ended up with like diapers. Some people in diapers bouncing on trampolines.
Oh my gosh.
And they got abducted by a UFO.
My dreams. How did you know?
Kind of like improv comedy, basically.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like an improv game.
It's super fun. Okay, so since you're new here to him, and we haven't talked in really several years.
Yeah.
Actually, first of all, I want you to tell everybody, like, how did you come to be on here today? Like, what happened? Because I'm actually a little bit curious as to why you reached out.
Well, I think I know.
He's like, I'm just on a podcast circuit right now.
Not quite. I mean, I think more or less, like, I've known you for a long time, and I've secretly stalked your show.
Just by nonsense. Oh, that's cool.
I mean, even from the beginning, like I've always like tried to like help support it and stuff like that.
And that really means a lot for sure.
And so you guys like did like the show reviews, and I was kind of like, it's not really my thing. And whenever I saw you started like kind of like branching out, and you've talked more about like what you wanted to do, I was like, you know what, like it'd be kind of fun to get on there and just hang out, because the last time we hung out really was like at Steak and Shake right after I left TCT.
Oh yeah, man, that was so long. What year was that?
You're gonna make me sound old. 2014, maybe.
Wow.
2013,
that
somewhere in there.
Was that 12 years ago? Gosh.
Yeah.
It does not feel like it's been 12 years.
Yeah.
Dear Lord in heaven.
So that's really like was one of the things, and I just like helping support people, and I know that if I can come on and share it and branch out, and there's good people in our community, and I know if we all can kind of like see what other people are doing and like truly be authentic and support each other, like that's kind of my big thing. I'm a sucker for the community, so
I love that, because
I hate the community and I want to watch it burn.
There's got to be one outlier.
Yeah, there's always one.
Got to be the contrarian.
So that's actually pretty awesome, because I've wanted that to be a thing. Like, we should all grow together. Like, support each other's businesses, support each other's all that kind of stuff. So I think that's great.
The phrase like a rising tide lifts all boats?
Yep.
I haven't heard that. But every time we do this podcast, we have like, I got to put citations at the bottom.
Yep.
Every time, because it's like, is that a real quote?
That is
like,
100% a real quote.
That's awesome.
It's all ships rise with the tide, or rising tides rise all ships.
And that's how it should be, man. Yeah. We should all be lifting each other up, because that's one thing that my business partner says all the time, is that he takes a little further, but he says we're all going to get famous together.
Right.
And that's a little bit. Is it aggrandizing? Am I using that correctly?
Yeah, self-aggrandizing.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like that, because but for us, it's more of like, you have a passion for audio recording, you got a passion for video games, and I don't know if you have a passion for QA, but like actual QA. Like game design?
Yeah, basically game development as a whole. Development. There are corners of it that I haven't traveled. Right. Because it's a very complex industry. Very, very complex.
And then for me, I've got like, I want to do, I want a whole studio. Like, I want to produce like fun, playful content.
Right.
And that we should all just build each other up, like with all the businesses around, like all that kind of stuff. So actually that might be kind of cool if we want to look into seeing about taking the podcast on the road and going into people's actual businesses.
That
Like,
would be neat.
Dude, I would love to interview all kinds of people.
well, not necessarily an interview, but like do it in their
in their space.
facility.
as long as they're okay with that.
Yeah, like go to like Downtown Dip and be like, can we just sit here and record a podcast and eat ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. And then maybe we bring the owners on and stuff, and then we have like silly, playful conversations, like like we normally do. Because I'm not down for being just an interview podcast.
Right.
No, I'm more talking about like a man on the street kind of thing. Like while we're there, we can talk to people.
Oh yeah.
Sort of like
Come on, and sit down and be on our
channeling
podcast.
Conan O'Brien, because he always does those great remotes.
Yeah, for sure.
Where he goes out and just talks to regular people, like doing their jobs.
Yeah.
Like that's when he's at his best. And I kind of want to try and I don't want to emulate him, but like I feel like I'm at my best at talking to people too.
sure.
Right.
So
Yeah. Just being real.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, we can talk about that more when we're not like in front of 38 people.
You're gonna have to edit a lot, buddy. This episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so an intro question, even though we're 20 minutes in already.
Right.
An intro question for you is, what is one fact about you that sounds fake but is completely true?
Gosh, I'm not good at. I guess that could be one of the things. I'm not good at taking appreciation for myself, I guess.
No, that doesn't sound fake. Anyone that sounds fake, you're like, I once jumped off a house and I landed on top of a beach ball and I survived, or whatever, like something crazy.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, something that sounds fake.
About me.
We had an issue with this too because I was asking them questions.
Yeah.
About like, what is an animal that you're overconfident that you could fight? And he said ants. And I'm like, how are you overconfident that you can fight ants?
Let's see. I guess I was on a movie set before I was 18. I traveled the country whenever I was like 14.
Okay. The movie set one sounds fake.
Yeah.
What set was it?
It
it has to be true. You got to prove it now.
Yeah, so it was for The Sound of Nothing out of 88 Productions in St. Louis. Basically, I had a friend that was a makeup artist, and they needed production assistants. Basically, just do whatever they need.
That's what we trained everybody to do
Yeah.
on the classes that I taught was PAs. Yeah,
So I went up there, and it was a zombie film.
that's fun.
Yeah, really cool.
That's fun to do as a makeup artist.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your friend had a lot of fun.
And so my first job was to shovel up cow manure because it was in the shots.
Fun.
They had this big crane, and like we were out in the country, and so they had this big crane, and the shot would pan out as the crane lifted up.
Right. Yeah.
And so like we're like
And they see
hoarding,
you just like
I'm like making like cow manure in the shots, and like we're hoarding cows out of the way, and
That's funny.
that was like my first like movie set, and it was fun. Like I had to have been like 16.
Oh,
That's
wow.
cool.
I mean,
Pretty young.
16 or 17.
Did you get paid for that?
No, I volunteered for it. But we stayed on site. Like they rented out like an old like 1800s like house out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And like we stayed there on set.
That sounds like. Have you seen the movie X? Or it's like a trilogy. There's X, Pearl, and Maxine.
Okay.
They literally go out in the middle of nowhere and they're in like a farm, an old farmhouse like that. But it's kind of like Airbnb before Airbnb was Airbnb, because this takes place back in like the 60s or something.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so I don't know why that just reminded me of that. But, if you're watching this, you probably should not go watch those movies because they're very grown up.
He's like, just be aware. It's in the title.
Right.
So that was like my first experience like with like real sound stuff, like real actors and like cameras.
Right.
Like it was just a cool experience in general, like, taping up windows to black it out, even though it's daytime.
You got to make it look like night.
To make it look like night.
That's really hard to do.
Dude,
the sun wants to get in there.
Yeah.
I saw an Instagram post that they were showing the inside of a barn and it looked like it was a bright summer morning. And then all of a sudden they walk outside and it's dark and it's snowing.
Oh.
And I'm like, holy crap.
It's a big whiplash.
But they had some bright lights outside. And I'm like, God, this looks so cool. But it literally felt like a bright morning.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool.
Yeah. And not being CGI, like actual.
Right. It was legit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That takes some ingenuity. I like it. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Did you have something else? Because I was
that was really about it. That's probably one of the more sounds fake things
Okay.
You know, being a teenager and being on a movie set.
Yeah, and that's cool too because everybody wants to be on a movie set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times we do. Oh well, going back a little bit to where when I asked you about coming onto the podcast, why you wanted to be on.
Yeah.
You actually commented on our first devlog.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, and I was like, "Who is watching this?" Because it's 45 minutes of Tom and I talking about or grammatically Tom and me talking about
how badly you messed.
Yeah, how badly we messed up, and all the stuff that went into the production of all the things that we made that month.
Yeah.
So, and I want to keep making those because they're fun for one, but also like I think people love the behind the scenes stuff. They love all the like what actually went into making this because not everybody is on a set. Not everybody makes videos. So whenever we talk about like, bro, I messed up with 2 cameras, so I had to spend 30 hours learning how to do animation.
Right. Yeah.
So
every time you say that, still I'm just like, ugh.
Dude, I'll be honest. I would have been like, we're redoing this one.
I honestly considered that.
Yeah.
But then when I got into the thought of doing animation, I was like, all right, this sounds like so much fun.
Or what I really probably would have done, floating logo on the screen. That's it. No people representation whatsoever. You're going to hear us, and you're not going to see us.
Dude, we actually have the first 24 episodes of the podcast are that, and they have like 11 views. So it's like nobody watches them.
Right.
They're not ideal.
Right. Maybe if I change the thumbnail, but then people will think that it's an actual video podcast. But
really what I would do, Rob, is I'd throw my headphones in and like either I was doing the dishes or like straightening up something or like being outside grilling, like and I would just listen to it.
Dude, that I cannot tell you how much that means to me. Because like we see the numbers going up a little bit. Like
it means this $20 bill I'm sliding to
you. No, keep that. We see the numbers going up every once in a while, but you don't ever get to actually talk to somebody who's like, I actually really like your content.
Right.
So that really means a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want. I'm tearing up a little bit. Because it's so sweet.
You can cut to me.
Bro,
I won't be crying now.
I'm a big crybaby when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, dude, because this is my passion. Like, I want this to be like my career, and then I want to have employees and people who work with me, partners and stuff that are like, we are going to grow this together, and then it becomes our job. Like, and this is where we go every single day. Not here, but wherever our studio is going to be.
Whatever it needs to be, whatever situation arises to. Like, I think I find so much. I don't know if art is really the right word for it, but I feel like there's so much beauty in having limitations and then working around those limitations.
Yeah.
So like, I know you're like, oh, not here, but honestly, here you're never going to forget the lessons you learned being here. Like,
well, here I'm in my house.
Yeah, I know what but you know what I'm saying. Those moments of like, I try and enjoy even stuff that I think isn't like where I want to be. Like just being in that moment and enjoying where I am. Like I do that all the time. Like
that's so hard to do, and I don't know why. Because it's like you're always striving for more and better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is really hard to like take the time and be like, all right, I really appreciate where I'm at.
I really wish I remember which philosopher it was, but I remember there was a philosophy where your best thing is to aim not for really great happiness, but for contentment.
Yeah.
Because that's all any of us could really ask for.
Right.
And if you could sit and look at this, like this is my life right now, would I be okay being like this till the day I die?
Okay.
Would I be okay growing old with my life just like this? If the answer is like, I'd be okay with that. I think that's a good life to ask for. That's a good thing. And that'll kind of make you kind of ground you in like what's happening right now.
Right. I do something like that definitely in the moment. Like I always have like high goals and you can ask my wife, probably too high expectations for myself. And so we're like, I can really like get in my own head all the time, but
I understand that too. Rob certainly does.
I just try and like, like you said, kind of ground yourself and be like, you're like next week, next month, next year, whenever you are in the place that you want to be at, you will always look back at the times of like how like, those great memories you made in the place you were. So like just try and like soak that in just a little bit. Like that's what I try and always remember.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really what life's made of, really, those memories, Yeah, those things that sort of you can hang on to and know that like I'll remember that till the day I die.
For sure.
And
really, this is kind of funny. I told my daughter there's a superpower to that. Embarrassment. if you get really embarrassed about something, then you remember that a lot, right?
Yeah.
And usually down the road, you laugh about it, you know, with friends and stuff like that. So I told her, if you ever really want to remember something, get really embarrassed or embarrass somebody else.
That's why I always tell the story of my brother pooping his pants in my car.
There you go. And like, it's almost a cherished memory now, right?
It is.
So imagine just stuffing your life with those. Embarrass yourself, you know, get out there and do crazy stuff that might embarrass you.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the less sensitive you're going to be about it, and the more you're going to be like, I'm just going to be me.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, then you find yourself. Yeah. That's man. How did we philosophize right now after what we normally talk about? When we turn into
I'm sorry.
It's Brian's fault.
It's my fault.
Brian made us care.
Yeah, I'm currently listening to. I don't know if you guys know who Stravinsky is or not.
Is that to me? I'm gonna guess. Hold on. That sounds like a composer.
Yes.
Holy
You are correct.
moly!
So
Holy Beethoven, Batman.
He's a Russian composer, but he also did like ballets and like I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it's basically like it's a story with music accompaniment, but like it's just like a spoken word,
Okay.
story with music accompaniment. But it's all like poem based too, so it's really cool. But basically, it's about like this soldier who's like in the military and he's like tired of like this grunt work life.
Right.
Well, like this like demon comes up to him and was like, "Give me your violin and you'll have like riches." And it's like there's this big long.
Sounds like a song that I've heard before.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's very. Yeah, I know where you're going with that. But like, it's really philosophical, and I've been like into that last couple days of like just listening to it because it's really good. And the voice for it is Scar from The Lion King.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Jeremy Irons?
Yes, Jeremy Irons. He's so good.
Dude, he has the best voice.
Yes.
He's so good.
So I recommend listening to that. 10 out of 10. It's amazing.
Stravinsky?
Yeah.
I said it right?
Yes, Stravinsky.
Stravinsky?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't put a T on it, so I didn't say it right. Big old fail for me.
But yeah, so that's probably why I'm probably a little more philosophical today than normal, you know. Most of the time, it's Disney musicals that I have stuck in my head.
I've been following SWAT team members around all day, video of them. So
the exact opposite of philosophical.
For sure.
Like, kill it.
Okay, so I have another question for you.
Okay.
Because you sent me your bio.
Yeah.
Before, because I was like, I want to make sure that we kind of tailor this episode to you a little bit. So as the youngest of 5 brothers, what survival skill did you learn first?
Probably it's every man for himself when it comes to food.
Well, especially when you're the youngest, because you're gonna get pushed around a little bit.
There's no like I'm great at finding things that are hiding. I can't hide anything. Just find it anywhere. You know, like survival skills, like
just scurry about like a mouse.
Right. I guess that would be pretty close to like, you know, just learning that like you got to stick out for yourself.
Right.
Because
otherwise they're gonna
walk all over you.
Yeah. Especially with brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
My brothers are definitely a strange group. And we definitely don't always get along. But you know, like I'm thankful for them and but it's definitely one of those things where you kind of learn. One, I think my biggest survival skill is just sticking up for yourself, and then the second one is like not being scared to just make your own path. You know, that's kind of the other one that I probably learned is like.
You're over here teaching us how to be better people.
I don't know. Like, there's like, you know, they were always doing their own thing, and I always just had the inclination of like, okay, well, I'm gonna be over here.
Okay.
Like, you know, they're doing baseball. They're doing basketball.
You're like, I want to do dance.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sign up to play piano. Like, you know, that was kind of like,
the arts are awesome. Like, I'm always pushing the arts on my daughter. I'm like, dude, do more artistic stuff, and she does a lot of dance. So
and that's awesome. I mean, that's very expressive. So
I've been doing that for my nieces and nephew and stuff. Like one year, I bought one of my nieces a guitar, like a little kid guitar. Because I was like, maybe she wants to learn guitar someday. And then I bought another one, a digital camera. And then come to find out that those were 2 things that each of them actually really wanted.
Oh, awesome!
That we hadn't talked about it. I just, you know, based on what I know of my nieces, I thought.
It was like one of those little guitars with like the nylon strings.
No, it was like real metal strings. Dude, it was like, a real guitar, but it was just smaller.
There's been Billie Eilish song that she wrote and performed with that one of those little baby guitars.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I can't remember which one it was, but
it just felt really nice, the fact that that like they were so excited about it. And that's what I try to do, is I try to push them into stuff that's like, I don't want to go buy them like a brain rot toy. I want to get them something that's going to like some kind of STEM product or whatever. Cause like I just
stimulate some part of their mind.
Yeah. Like I got my nephew, it's like a click together circuit board building set.
Oh, cool.
And it's got like 40 or 50 different circuits you can build in it. And it does all kinds of different things.
Cool.
That's cool.
And every time we built one, he would run out of the dining room and he'd be like, Mom, look at this. And he would show her what it does.
Cool.
And then he'd bring it back in, we'd take it apart. And I love this part where I was not really telling him, I stopped telling him how to line everything up, because it's on a grid.
Yeah.
And the instructions tell you where to put it. So I was letting him learn how to read the grid instead of me being like, okay, put this one here, put this one there, plug this there. I got to a point where I was like, what, if you look at this picture, what does this mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, this piece goes here. And I'm like, oh, yes. I was so
You got it.
Yeah, I was so excited.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love doing that kind of stuff, man. And my brother, he's always like, you always give them something that makes them think. And I'm like, yeah, that's the type of person I am.
This is not a plug, but you ever tried Kiwi Crate?
I've heard of it, but I haven't done it.
It's just like a monthly crate. It's a monthly crate. It comes with toys to build with your young ones so you can stimulate their mind.
Not sponsored by Kiwi Crate.
Not sponsored by Kiwi Crate.
Yet.
Not yet.
I wonder if they're in like direct competition with like the Crunch Labs box.
I have no idea what that is.
Or it's from Mark Rober.
Oh, okay.
Or what is it? Michael from Vsauce has one.
Oh yeah, he does. That
yeah.
one's. I think they're kind of different because the Michael from Vsauce one comes with like toys and knickknacks.
Well, it's a lot of sciencey stuff.
And it's cool. Yeah, Don't get me wrong. I'm not disparaging it.
He'll be like, here's a ruler.
But Kiwi Crate, it comes with like a bunch of like parts, and it gives you instructions to put something together.
That's what the Crunch Labs one does. It's like you can. There's one where he teaches you how to build like a minigun. And then like you can program it. Yeah, you can like you can get more advanced ones.
Those are cool. Yeah. This is just basically like cardboard and like like bat or rubber bands.
It's not like a $70 box.
Yeah, nothing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I looked into the Crunch Labs one and I was like, it's a lot of money for a toy. Like every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but it's such a good idea, like to get that kind of stuff. But I love challenging people in general, but especially my nieces and nephews. Because I don't have any kids, so I'm like, let me push off my need to make people better onto them.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I thought that was super cool.
Rob's the coolest uncle ever.
They dude, I can't tell you how much it means to me because anytime they see me, especially if they haven't seen me for a while, they're like, Uncle Rob, and they run and like jump on me. It melts my heart every time.
Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, so it reminds me when my daughter was little. So yeah, I get you.
Yeah. It's just such a nice little. They still do it though, and like my oldest niece is 15.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and they'll still like run out there and
That's legit.
They surround my car so much when I pull up that I can't even get out. I'm like, you guys have to back up so I can get out.
Some people have dogs that run up to the car. Right. My brother's got kids.
That's right, man. That's cool. Yeah, cherish that because there's going to come a day where they don't do it anymore.
I love it so much. And there's one of them, the youngest, Charlotte. They got to ride in my car for the first time. So she was obviously in the back seat. And I want to say she was standing up, but I'm pretty sure she wasn't. I just think she was in a tall car seat. But my brain is telling me she was standing up in the back seat. And I was driving along and I was playing rock music that they don't typically listen to. I think it was Linkin Park that I was playing.
Yeah.
And she goes, I love this. And I'm like, dude, her adrenaline had to be going. So that just it made me so happy.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And then I had an argument with her because she didn't want to read.
Oh boy.
Because she sent me a message on Facebook because she has like Facebook Kids. And she sent me a voice message and then I typed the answer back to her. And then she sent me another voice message that said, can you do the voice messages? Because I don't want to read. And I was like, no, you need to learn how to read.
Right.
And just a slew of angry faces. Angry face emojis, just tons of them.
I can't read, but I can send you emojis.
Right. So she can read. She just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, bro, come on.
Got to practice. Got to get better at it.
And my kids are good about reading. Like, well, the one that can read, my other one's too young. But my oldest, he's like every night he's in bed with his book open, like, come on, Dad, it's your time to read.
That's
so
cool.
he loves reading. And then now my youngest can't read, but he wants me to read out of one of his books. So
that's cool.
So
that's
now
so interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'll read with Silas, and then I'll go down to the bunk bed and read a couple pages out of Sammy's book. And usually by that time, Silas has found his way down and is also listening to the Hulk story or whatever it is we're reading.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So
cherish that too. Yeah.
You know what was cool is my friend Brett. You can find him on some of the videos in Just Play Nonsense. He one of the videos is he's telling a story of the Three Little Pigs, and what he would do is like, since you can't tell the same story over and over and over again because then they kind of get bored with it.
Right.
So he would change it every time. So he would add little bits and stuff here and there, and like it ended up where the first little pig or the second one made his house out of like sticks and paper and poop is what he said.
Oh my gosh.
And then he ended up like the big bad wolf tried to blow down the brick house, but he couldn't, and when he knocked at the door, nobody came because they were all down in the basement watching Rambo on the home theater. And then the wolf gets really angry because he realizes that he hired some contractors out of South Carolina and they didn't do the work right. And then he said, and I was in a lawsuit. So then my Brett just gets up and walks out, like, cause he's supposed to be telling the story to little kids. And he just gets up and walks out because he's like, I can't do this anymore. My kids are stupid. And he just walks off.
And that needs to be your next writer right there. Coming up with stories on the fly like that. That's awesome.
Dude, what that came about because I was at his house hanging out with him because we would watch The Walking Dead, like whenever it was like, on
First
and
coming
stuff.
out.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we were later seasons, but as it would premiere. And we were watching it, and then he would put the kids to bed, and I could hear him telling the stories in the other room. And I'm like, what story is this? And then I would hear little bits and pieces. And I'm like, oh, it's the Three Little Pigs. But it's like not the Three Little Pigs.
Yeah.
Right.
So we recorded like 6 stories like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I've only put out 1. So
I can understand that because you get tired of saying the same stories over and over again. So you start to improv on them. Yeah.
Yep. That's what he was doing. He's so good at it. He's so silly and funny. But he's living in like another state now. So yeah. Okay. Moving on. You have mentioned that you like to camp and backpack.
Yes.
So I have a kind of a chaotic, first thing is a little bit of a chaotic question.
Okay.
What's more chaotic?
Okay.
A recording session, camping with kids, or growing up with 4 older brothers?
I would probably have to say, I don't know. They've all been chaotic before, but they've also all not been. So a recording session definitely can be
for sure
very chaotic, depending on what's thrown in last minute or whatever it might be, or what doesn't work or does.
That is some stuff I'm going to want to hear from you. Some of those stories.
So I would say the likelihood of recording sessions going poorly is probably top, or not really poorly, but being chaotic is probably top. Next would probably be camping with kids. A caveat to that, what's probably the most chaotic that wasn't on that list is trying to take your kids fishing.
Really?
That is chaotic, especially whenever you have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old.
And they're just swinging those fishing
They're swinging the fishing poles around. They're trying to jump in, like, you're trying to dodge snakes. Like, it's chaos.
What about taking kids camping at the recording studio?
Most of the time that works out because around 10, 11 o'clock, they're out.
Yeah, you got to do whatever you can to wear them out.
Well, how late do recording sessions usually go?
I've had several that last till like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, nuts to that, man.
I've done video stuff like that before, man, where I'll be up 4 or 5
We did that for the Schnucks commercials. Like we had to be there at 2.
Yeah, in the morning?
Yeah.
So you were filming at night?
Yeah.
Or was
we
it
had to
just
film
'cause
in
it
the
was
store,
closed?
but it had to be closed.
Yeah.
So like the only time to do that was, and it was cleaned, like from like 10 to 12. So it was like, all right, then so they're gonna set up from 12 to 2,
right?
Shoot everything at 2, and then
that's that makes sense.
So one of the
I was gonna say I want to hear some of your.
So one of the sessions I had that was in that video that Kaylin did, the day before the actual recording session was our setup day, like prep day, because I pretty much brought the entire studio on location to a church to record everything. And
I was wondering how you did that.
Yeah. And so we started at like, I don't know, probably like 9 or 10 in the morning. But I didn't get done till like 1 o'clock in the morning that night, or really the next day.
Like the recording session?
The prep day.
Oh, okay.
The prep day. And I still didn't have everything done. But I was like, I have to be on site again at 5 a.m. And it's 1 o'clock right now. So I got to be back in 4 hours.
I just sleep there.
Yeah. And I just, took a nap and came back. I think Kaylin they may have just slept in their car. I'm not sure. But they got up early. They were there with me till 1 o'clock doing their B-roll.
Wow.
They got up early and did more B-roll as everybody was coming in. So I just can't applaud them enough. Anyway, that's that next day, the actual session day, we got done at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Man. So the whole choir was there and everybody was there?
Yeah, so we started with like woodwinds and brass, and then talk about chaotic recording sessions like the day before, or maybe it was the week before. The conductor for the orchestra was like, oh, I've got this thing that I have to do at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to be gone from 10 to like 1 or something like that. And it was like,
dude, no, I need you here.
We're honest. One, you got paid to be here all day.
Right.
And two, I have 20 songs that I have to record in one day.
Yeah.
All of the parts. Like, you just can't leave. And anyway, so he did. It ended up working out. We're working where he had to leave and he came back. But, so we didn't finish all of the brass, and then strings came back, and strings took 4 hours just to do the strings. Mm-hmm. And then the choir came in and we did all the choir stuff.
And so each group did 20 songs in a row?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so much.
It's so much. And so by the time I wanted to get principals done too, because some people were leaving.
What are principals?
Principals are like the main people in the musical. So like your main like cast members, I guess you could say. So they have like multiple singing roles, duets. Like some songs had 5 people singing in them. Some people had like 1 or 2 people singing in them. Some were just solos. Okay. But what the challenge is that, we've got 5 people singing in one song. Well, one guy's going to go to New York and may never come back next week. Yeah. Another person's going to be on vacation for 3 weeks. Like, so it was like we had to get it done today, or we were going to be
choice.
Way behind. Right. And so we basically started on principals from like 11 to like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I was like, guys, I'm toast. Like, I cannot function.
I cannot listen to these 20 songs again.
Yeah. And so I eventually told Deanna, who's like the writer of the musical and kind of the orchestrator of all of this. And I was like, we're going to have to call it a night and do something else. And so that was on a Saturday. Sunday, the next day, we got permission to leave our stuff there, which was nice, and bring the brass section back in to finish them up. So that was not initially planned.
And just to go back to basics for those who at home who may not understand how that process works, a lot of times on TV and movies, it shows when they're recording a song, the band's all in there at the same time, and like it's a big studio or something like that. Whereas most of the time, it really is just done in layers. Like you record one instrument, and then record that, put that away, and then record another instrument playing the same song.
And it also probably
overlay them over
depends on how
other.
many mics you have and how many channels you have on the board and how much processing power your computer has.
The biggest thing is I could have and probably would have liked to have recorded everyone together at once, but there's like a time dimension and then there's like a proficiency dimension, and the time versus efficiency was not going to correlate. Yeah. So basically, it would take more time to have everyone in the room to play the song perfectly or redo it again compared to just
one
the
person
brass.
Messed up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the decision was made to just do sections.
Smart.
And then I can mix everything.
Yeah, I was saying you have more control over it that way too.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Man, the horns are really loud here, and they're drowning out everything else. So you can turn that down.
Right. Yeah. It gives me way more flexibility and control when it comes to actually mixing. And so that session lasted till like 3 o'clock in the morning. We did drums the next week at the same place. And that was the story I was kind of talked about a little bit before earlier. Yeah. Is that we were supposed to start at 6. We got let in late, and then by the time we were ready to record, I have what was called like the God cable. Basically, it was like an adapter to go from my computer to my interface, and that God cable was not in my box.
I have been there.
So I had to drive home, and it's like a 20-minute drive home, 20-minute drive back. So 40 minutes lost.
Yeah,
we didn't actually get started on the drums till like 9 o'clock.
Gosh.
And that session went until 4 o'clock in the morning.
So it would have been done at what, 3:20?
Yeah.
So it was still super late.
Yeah, it was still super late because we were supposed to start at 6, and it just it turned into be a very late session. So
I did something similar. I think I may have told this once before, but I got hired by a company to come and shoot their website photos. And I get my camera and I get everything set up and I show up and I pull up my camera and I turn it on. I get ready to take the first picture and it says no card.
Oh no.
And I'm like, what? And then I'm looking.
That can't be true.
Right. Well, that happened right before we got started here. I didn't even have a card in this thing. But yeah, so I'm like, oh no. So I was like, what do I do? And then I was like, all right, phones take really good pictures. So I'm literally standing there. I've got like a expensive DSLR camera sitting over here on the side. I'm like, let me just get out my phone real quick and take photos. And it worked perfectly fine.
Nice.
But man, I felt like the least professional person on the planet.
Yeah. Like, this is just some guy with his phone. Yeah.
Dude, I hired somebody to come shoot with me one time, and the first time they forgot their card, their battery was dead. Or no, they didn't forget their card. Their card was full. Their battery was dead, and they didn't have a tripod.
Oh.
So I had to provide all of that. And then the second time I brought them out, they didn't have the base plate to their tripod.
Oh.
So they had to hold it. And I'm like,
come on, guy.
I'm like, come on.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
I do remember though, when I first started, man, like I shot interviews out of focus.
Yep.
Terrible lighting because I didn't know what I was doing.
Hey, remember the first couple episodes of the podcast?
There was that one that was completely animated.
Well, that was episode 1 of season 2.
Oh, okay.
So we had already had 50 something episodes under my belt. And then I'd been doing this for 20 years. And then I was like, the camera's got it. It knows how to focus. And then what happened was we had shot Tiny Desk Crashers before that, which, speaking of that, he has helped run audio for Tiny Desk Crashers, which I'm sure is not fun and not easy. Well, it's fun, but it's not easy.
It's fun.
Because you have to like smash the headphones on your ears because you're in the room
with the drums, yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow.
But I forgot what I was saying. What was Tiny? So yeah, it was out of focus because we had used it for that, and I used it for a wide shot. And with that particular camera, which is the one that's on you right now, it has had issues before with, I don't remember what it's called, but it'll like, the focus will shift and then it'll shift back.
Oh, so it's like ranging.
Yeah, but I think it's if
so I shouldn't like go really close and back forward.
Well, right now you have a square on your face, so it's tracking your eyes. But I think before I had done that, and then when I went to sit down, I walked in front of it, and it lost the tracking on his face.
Oh, yeah.
So then it was shifting between my shoulder and his face.
Gotcha. It was like, I don't know what to do.
So when we did Tiny Desk Crashers, when I set it up, I put it on manual focus once I got it set.
Gotcha.
So that it wouldn't shift anymore. And then I forgot to put it back on auto when I put it on you.
Oops.
And it's such a small screen, you can't tell that it's out of focus.
You just weren't thinking of me that much, were you?
Dude, mine was out of focus too. I wasn't even thinking about myself.
Don't feel bad, because if you looked at the ones that I did this year, I used that T6i.
Oh yeah.
So my shots were just super dark and grainy, and I'm like, but it honestly kind of has like a whole feel to it too,
like an artistic flair.
Yeah, like one day Instagram's gonna have this as a filter, and I started it.
Maybe,
dude. So talking about mishaps and stuff. I shot a video one time, and I had written the script out and I had everything set, and I shot the whole thing. We actually used a restaurant to shoot it.
Oh, cool.
And this was back before I had any microphones or anything like that. I just had the camera, so I borrowed a microphone, and it was one that went on top of your camera. It was just a little shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't monitor audio. I didn't even look to see the meters or anything. I was still real new.
Gorilla son.
And I get home and I transfer the files and I start playing it, and I'm like, why is there no sound? I check everything. I play a YouTube video, it plays just fine. And I'm like, I didn't record sound. So then I went and looked at the camera, and the microphone, the switch is off.
No.
And I'm like, come on. So I had to Well, before I tell you what I had to do, what was really funny is I was getting mad at somebody who was in the back in the frame, because these were all extras, people that I had in, and he kept sloshing his ice around in his glass.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I've asked you repeatedly to be quiet, and now it didn't matter. So the way I fixed it was I turned it into like a silent film.
Okay.
So they would, their mouths would move, and then I would bring up that little flourishes and stuff, and then I'd put the text on the screen.
That's cool.
So I was like, you got to do what you got to do to fix it. Whenever we shot Out of Focus, I was like, 30 hours to learn animation. Let's go.
Yeah. That's rough, dude.
Yeah. So you just got to do what you got to do to fix the whatever it was.
Show must go on, man.
Those first couple things I shot for that client that were out of focus, I was like, well, I can use the audio. I just have to cover it up with B-roll because I can't show him because he's out of focus.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about shooting at eye level, so I'm shooting from all the way down here, so it's looking up at him, and I'm like, it's so funny the stuff that you realize whenever you like get better at your profession.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you have some stories like that where you're like, I will never do that again.
Yes. 100%.
Well, we are just going to have to wait until the next episode, because I have been told that we should keep these episodes to around 45 minutes. And while we had Brian on, we ended up talking for an hour and 40 minutes. So this episode is going to be cut into two. So you're going to have to wait until the next one to finish these stories. So I apologize for that, but thank you for watching. And now here is the same outro that you're going to see in episode 5, because we only recorded one, and I kind of want to not end this episode as abruptly as I have already started. All right, so on that, we're going to go out. Go check us out. We have a link tree that has a link to all of our stuff. Leave us some comments and reviews and all the 5 stars and all that good stuff. And then we will be back on the next episode with some more nonsense, and we'll see you guys later. Okay, bye.
Peace.